All right, what is going on, everybody? Back with another video. Today is Thursday and I'm actually off a little bit early from work today, so that's actually pretty cool. So that's gonna set up for a pretty awesome Friday and hopefully a more awesome weekend. And hopefully everybody's doing good. Hopefully everybody's having a pretty good time with whatever you're doing. And if you're maintaining, that's awesome. If you're working hard, that's even better. Keep doing what you're doing. Today, before I get started, follow my TikTok. I now have a TikTok. The link will be down in the description. Over there, I'll be doing clips on things that don't really make a video or whatever. Kind of similar to what, obviously what shorts do over here. But, just add an extra side. Like for people who like to be on TikTok, I'm over there. So I'll be on TikTok. I'll still be here. Nothing changing. Follow the TikTok where I do, my little clips on gaming as well. So hopefully you guys check that out. Link is in the description. Before I get started, once again, with this Dragon Age Veilguard, I want to say that games are created with passion, love, and care. Not the other stuff that these other companies are doing. And what Dragon Age Veilguard is absolutely a testament of what happens when you do the opposite. Basically, Dragon Age Veilguard was a game that was going to be a single player to a full-on online game, and then went back to a single-player experience. I mean, Jason Schreier just talked about this in Bloomberg. I'll try to have that link down in the description as well. And what happened was they tried to go back and forth with it, and it just became a garbled mess, and to the point where even the voice acting had to be flipped and reworked so it can sound more of a different type of a tone that's what was originally made. It wasn't necessarily a tone for the Dragon Age universe, but they had to change it. So the entire game was absolutely botched. It's not necessarily because it was what they call woke or whatever the case may be. I know it was a part of it because I saw the scenes, I saw the cut scenes or whatever, but nevertheless, the situation with this game was never into play to where it could be Inquisition or Origins or anything like that. And it's really disappointing because these companies nowadays, they get in the way of these games and the developers get in the way. They get in the way of the developers' vision and their actual talent, and want to throw stuff in games that people think that's going to sell. People got to realize, what makes games successful is the passion, the heart, and the uniqueness of a game. Whatever that developer or the company, not necessarily company, because sometimes the company are just investors or they just want investors. They don't care, they just want to make money. But what your developers and the vision that they have is put into a game. Some of the best games that were created are weird looking, funky looking, unique experiences that are put to the forefront. Every single game that you could think of dating back to like the Atari or the NES, if you're that old, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Those games were weird. They were different. I mean, just you can even start looking at like the Donkey Kong game, or you go look at Mario, you look at Excite Bike, you look at Kid Icarus, go into the Sega side, Sonic, Altered Beast, on and on, Crash Bandicoot. All these games were weird looking, not the weird that you may think like what people think weird nowadays. The uniqueness of it's like, okay, that looks different. It was a different form of weird back in the day. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. But nowadays, even when you look at like the games that are more realistic looking, like your Uncharted's of the world or whatever the case may be, they still have this weird element to it. Like, who is Nathan Drake? Why does he look like this? You know what I'm saying? Or why does he play the way he plays? What is going on with these games that makes them different? And I think the problem with Dragon Age, even though that game did have its weirdness about it, I think the messaging was a little bit heavy-handed and the creativity was kneecapped. And that's basically what you have with a Dragon Age. I mean, that's what happened with that game, and they tried to do the modern audience thing, and that's a disaster in itself. You look at games like Mind's Eye, we just talked about that the other day, where that game doesn't look weird. It looks like it completely bland. It wanted to be a GTA killer, which GTA is the epitome of a weird game. It's just so unique. Like, when you look at the game, like, all right, this looks off the wall. What is this? And that's the type of stuff that was, is kind of missing when people use their passion, they use their thoughts and ideas, they use their uniqueness, they put whatever that was going through their mind or whatever they put out there for the world to see on paper, or they put it in the computer and they process it to be a great game. You know, a lot of games now, and I know some people already thought about this already, they do a lot of trauma dumping, and you kind of see that in some games nowadays that do have the aesthetic look to be that type of game, to be a weird off-the-wall game, but it has to have the elements that people can relate to. And sometimes, you know, when you push stuff on people, people will be turned off by it and don't even get a chance to try to relate regardless. You know, even with like the agendas that people push, if you don't lay it on so thick, people don't care. And, you know, they won't care. You know, like you look at the Dragon Age Veilguard situation, that agenda was pushed on so thick it was a turnoff. But then again, you look at something like The Last of Us and you saw what Ellie was going through in the situation. Ellie, you know, the type of person Ellie was, nobody cared because it was still relatable at the end of the day and it wasn't pushed on people. So I think this is something that is somewhat of a lesson learned, hopefully. I doubt it if EA will learn this or whatever. They will continue to do it. You know, some companies nowadays are pulling back. If you've seen the last Summer's Game Fest, the State of Play, even the Xbox Showcase, they seem like they're getting back to the games of what people really want. But you know, when you look at a Dragon Age Veilguard, a Concord, or a Dustborn, or you look at all these other games that was the Saints Row reboot, you look at some of the Anthems, you know, some of these games that just did not make it, you start to see where, okay, these companies have to learn their lesson to be like, okay, this is not working and we have to pull back a little bit. Now, I'm not one of these people that's against it or for it. I just want a good game. I don't care what you do with your game or whatever the case may be. But you put certain messaging in any game or any type of messaging in any game, it kind of is a turnoff. People want to get away from that stuff. We deal with that stuff in real life. You know, I drive trucks for a living. We deal with that everywhere I go with real issues. And when we pick up a controller or we cut on that PC and start using our keyboards, we don't really want to deal with the real life issues that people may have that they put in these games. These games are an escape at the end of the day. And I think that BioWare kind of learned that. I think the executives kind of learned that. And maybe they will learn to actually make quality games that people can relate to. You know, even if you want to throw a little bit of that in there, just put it there enough where it's not a turnoff. So that's what I got from this whole article. Like I said, I'll put the link down in the description. Also, follow me on TikTok, man. I mean, I'm going to start, well, I already started putting more clips over there of me just talking that comes to my mind to give you 30 to 15 seconds, or even, you know, 60 seconds of what I think of something real quick. And so far the reception has been really good. A lot of people been viewing, a lot of people been liking the content over there. Hopefully you will do the same. Links down in the description. Check out me on TikTok. The article of this will be down in the description. I'm gonna get up out of here. I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Also, hopefully you'll see you on TikTok. All right, I'm out. Peace.